Welcome everyone to the Why Buy Calgary webinar. This specific webinar today, we're going to be focusing on how not just myself, but other members of the team were really able to help build equity in their investments even before we took possession of it. So that will be somewhat the focus of today's session, and we'll also take a look at what's happened in the market in Calgary over the last month. Maybe even get into how the Bank of Canada rates, how that's going to impact what's happening in Calgary, and then look at some upcoming projects that align well with you being able to see similar results to the team in terms of building equity as your property is being built. And then we'll, of course, have a Q&A, but there will be questions, I'm sure, throughout the presentation. So if I see any that are relevant to what we're covering, I'll make sure to pause, address them, but we will dedicate some time at the very end to answer any questions that weren't addressed. So let's begin. Today, we're going to be looking at the Calgary market, as I mentioned, looking at the Savanna condo as a case study in how we were able to double our initial investment. And then we'll take a look at other projects, specifically Violet, that I think we can replicate a very similar type of return. So quite excited to look into that brand new project. It was just launched on Monday, so there's a lot of opportunity to still get into some really great units there. Introduction. So we are RE/MAX Wealth Builders. For those that are new to the webinar, we have been selling Calgary pre-construction since 2019. And, we really started to hit our stride in 2020, and we have helped over 1,000 people secure investment properties in Calgary. That equates to over $450 million in pre-construction sales alone in Calgary. And I think what we are most proud of is we simply aren't just selling the properties and asking you to buy. We as a team are heavily invested as well in the Calgary market, and we have invested in over 20 pre-construction properties. The most recent one was our newest team member, Jeffrey, who isn't on the webinar today, but he bought a freehold duplex in Rangeview with a secondary suite for doubling his income or adding a second income suite. So again, we are pretty much putting our money where our mouth is, and we're not just talking the talk, but we tend to walk our talk as well. Starting with a quick introduction, Alex Wilson, he is the broker of record. He isn't here, so I'm not going to go through every single line item. He's the man. He was, recognized as the #1 RE/MAX agent for overall transactions in 2022. He's pretty much won all the awards that you can think of under the RE/MAX umbrella. And Alex has turned a $39,000 deposit into a real estate portfolio that is worth over $20 million today. That $17 million is slightly understated. And Alex's portfolio, here it is. We're pretty transparent. Again, not going to go through every single line of his units that he's purchased, but he started investing back in 2012, and his last investment was only a couple of years ago in Calgary. And we can take a look at the current value of his portfolio today would be over $17 million. But over the next 30 years, that portfolio will be worth well over $40 million. And that is only at a 3% year-over-year appreciation, and also factors in any type of inflation. So that is in today's earning dollars. Next on the screen is Kyle DeVigi. I believe Kyle co-founded RE/MAX Wealth Builders with Alex. I'm not sure. He can clarify that during our next webinar where we're all together. But Kyle is a broker and also a realtor in Calgary and in Ontario. So is Alex. So am I, by the way. So we're all three of us. We are all licensed in Calgary in Alberta and in Ontario. Kyle also started investing back in 2012. Previous to selling real estate, Kyle was in charge of Lotto Max, and he has this great pitch that he does about what he does. He has the lottery ball. I'm not going to try to replicate that, but Kyle was part of the lottery team and ran the draw. has a ton of success out in Calgary. He has helped just last year alone, nearly 200 people secure pre-construction properties in Calgary. And I think year to date, he's probably closing in on about 500 units, just himself alone. So really knows his stuff. And Cal was also able to turn a nearly $39,000 deposit into a $4.7 million real estate portfolio today, consisting of 7 properties. And here is Kyle's portfolio. Just going to click on something here to make sure everything's viewable. Perfect. Just wanted to make sure I didn't mess up. So Kyle's portfolio is worth just under $5 million. And again, factoring in a 3% year over year growth, his portfolio will be worth about $10.5 million in 30 years. And that does not include cash flow or any type of principal repayment. And now myself, my name is Nish. I've been a real estate investor since 2006. And I own a total of 9 investment properties. 7 of those properties are out in Calgary. Currently, I have 3 properties that are tenanted, and the 4th will be coming into completion in August. So in the thick of things right now when it comes to all the different closings that we're going through. As I mentioned, I am a agent in Alberta and in Ontario, and my success in Calgary coming up on just under 250 pre-construction properties sold. Prior to my time as a realtor, I was a sales and operations director for an entertainment company. And in terms of my portfolio, it's going to look slightly different because I'm going to highlight a couple of things here. You can take a look. Here are my 9 properties. The first 2 properties are in Ontario, which I purchased back in 2006. And then again, 2017, the latter is my principal residence. And the next 7 properties are all in Calgary. The 3 that are highlighted in yellow, or beige and yellow, those are the 3 that are currently closed. I have tenants in there paying me rent currently. And then I have the next property that is closing in August. And my current value of the portfolio is just over $5 million. And factoring in that same 30-year timeline at a very conservative 3% year over year growth, I'll be looking at just under $13 million for that portfolio myself. So there you have it. We're going to be talking more about the Savanna 2 condo project, which is the one that's highlighted in, I guess, a brighter yellow, because that's really where we're going to take a look at how I was able to double my initial investment. So we're going to get to that shortly. So let's take a look at why Calgary. So the reason why we've been pushing Calgary for the last number of years, there's many reasons on top of affordability, but people want to live in Calgary, both other people in Canada that are migrating to Alberta, specifically Calgary, but also immigration, people coming around from all over the world, from Asia, from South America, from Africa, from Europe. So there are a lot of people that are coming into Canada, and it has been voted one of the most livable cities in North America for the last 3 or 4 years. I think it's taken the #1 spot the last 3 consecutive years. It also is ranked as one of the top most livable cities worldwide, specifically for the healthcare, culture, education, and the current infrastructure. Now, from a geographical standpoint, it's situated right by the Canadian Rockies, and you can get to the Rockies from some of our projects that we've sold, in under an hour. So you're right there by Banff, one of the highlights of the Canadian landscape. There's a ton of green space. Calgary has one of the lowest cost of livings across our nation, but also has the highest wages per employee in Canada. So that combination really makes it for a great lifestyle. You're making a lot, not spending a ton on your fixed costs like housing and other things you need to live a healthy life. So disposable income is much higher in places like Calgary than it would be in Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal, hence why that city is growing so quickly. All right, so I wanted to also jump into what we saw last month. So Calgary, once again, has seen tremendous growth and numbers in the real estate sector. And this is in the resale side of things. So when we look at the first point that I want to address is the benchmark price. So the benchmark price has gone up by nearly 10% versus last year. So from the mid $500,000 range, it's gone up to over $600,000. And we talk about what a benchmark price is, slightly different than the average. The benchmark price is when you're looking at similar properties in similar areas, and then you are comparing the sales data for those properties versus those very similar properties from previous years. So that's really what the benchmark price is. The number of sales are down slightly by less than 1%, and that's just due to the lack of inventory. New listings are up. Inventory has gone up, but it's not staying on the market as much. The number of months of supply is just over a month last month, and the days on market is under 3 weeks. So this means that when a property is listed, it's not even taking 3 weeks to sell. And when we look at the months of supply, when we're talking about 1 month, we're in a very significant seller's market in Calgary. I think Toronto right now, we're probably in and around the 6 to 7 month range in terms of the absorption. So there's a ton of bidding wars. The real estate market is on fire. The rental market is on fire. So for those that have investments right now, you're probably, experiencing really good rental income, and you're seeing your property appreciate as well. So let's take a look at what we are here to discuss. We're looking at how your investment, or how I was able to take my initial investment in the Savanna condos project that I purchased back in 2021. I bought that project for $392,000. So my initial capital that I spent was under $40,000. So 10% of 392 is 39,720. That's the exact math there. When I close on the property, banks have to do their appraisals. The appraisal came back astonishingly at $435,000. So that was almost $45,000 more than what I bought it for. So when I look at my initial capital, my initial investment, which I put down, which was $39,000, and any of my other closing costs, which came up to, I think, just under $2,000, my lawyer fees, so on and so forth, I was able to more than double my investment. All my initial costs came up to $41,720, and the increase that I saw starting day one was $43,280. So that is a return on my investment of 104%. So that is more than doubling my investment. Now, the reason why properties are coming back at a appreciation value, such as what the bank provided me with when I was closing my properties, because the market is growing. In Calgary, you're but you're now experiencing what the population growth, what that is causing in the housing market. When there is a lack of supply, but there's a ton of demand, of course, prices are going to go up. That's why there's bidding wars. Now, this isn't an artificial inflation of prices. This is due to population growth. This is because people are coming into the city. They're working good jobs. They're getting paid significantly more than other places in Canada, and they're wanting to live in a place where it isn't expensive. So this is going to be what we'll most likely see, at least for the next 5 years, as the population grows. And for those that have seen our presentations in the past, we're very bullish on Alberta and Calgary specifically. We know, based on the Stats Canada reports that we look at as soon as they come out on a monthly basis, on a quarterly basis, Alberta is going to surpass BC in overall population within the next 15 to 20 years. And Calgary is going to grow by over 65%. So as we see the need for housing get more and more, but the supply isn't there, buying pre-construction properties is really one of the most effective ways to get the best return on the dollars that you're investing. Now, can you buy a resale property? Absolutely, you can. One of the challenges you're going to have with buying resale property today is you're dealing with high interest rates. Thankfully, the Bank of Canada did drop the rates early this week by a 1/4 point. So that is a sign hopefully of good things to come, but you're still dealing with high interest rates today. You're still dealing with bidding wars. And when you're looking at a brand new property, those properties are going to be valued and in many cases are going to be sold for more than what you can buy a pre-construction property for. So one of the best ways for you to kind of take advantage of what's happening there is to look at your pre-construction options. And if a down payment structure works for you, whether it's 5, 10%, or in some cases even 20% down, you can put to get a better level of incentives. One of the best ways for you to make your dollar stretch the furthest and to see the best return on every dollar that you're investing. So let's take a quick second to see if there's any questions that are coming up. Which projects do you suggest? Okay, yeah, we will cover that shortly. And by the way, today's presentation is not going to take an hour. I believe it might take about half an hour, maybe 40 minutes at the most, depending on the questions that you're going to ask. But, I'll stay as long as you need me to, but please don't feel the need to stay for every single minute because you will get the recording. So now let's take a look at what else is happening in the market. So we saw that the overall market is thriving. We're seeing increases across pretty much every category, but I know many of you, based on the projects that we have for sale, also want to have a better idea of what's happening based on each property type. So looking right now at your single family home, your detached homes, single family homes now, average prices are well over $800,000. I remember when we started this a few years ago, they were hovering in and around the $500,000 range. So the prices have gone up significantly. The supply isn't there. That's why the number of units that are being sold are going down. But we are starting to see new listings coming up on the market. And again, with that absorption rate of less than 3 weeks being on the market for properties like this, they will go fast. And I believe before the year is done, we're probably going to be closer to the $850,000 mark for single family homes. And we have options for those that are looking to dabble in the single family home. We even have those options with the legal income suite, which obviously will be priced or will have a higher value than those that simply have a finished basement and not a legal income suite. Moving over to the single family semi-detached properties, last month, average sales have now risen over 700,000. I don't remember the last time this has happened. I think this might be a first for Calgary, being over $700,000 for semi-detached properties, up almost 17% from last year. And again, you're looking at the units that are being sold are obviously going to be fewer than previous years, but you're also going to see a higher number of listings coming on the market. So there you have it for your single family detached and single family semi-detached. These are your typical freehold properties. Moving on to townhomes and condos. So townhomes as well, seeing tremendous growth, over 16.5% from last year. We're hovering in and around that $475,000 mark. And then flipping over to condos, up 13.6%, nearly topping $350,000. I think this is the highest condo prices have been. I think we've even exceeded the market high back in 2014. Now, this number to many people, there are questions that come up, so I'm going to address this before someone asks. A lot of the properties that we're selling right now, especially when we look at the condo category, starting prices are going to be in and around the $350,000 mark for the 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom units. This is an average of all condo sales in Calgary. And for those that have been listening to us, many of you know that the majority of the condos that are for sale are 10, 15, 20, sometimes even over 25 years old. So there's a lot of things that come with a much older property, including higher maintenance fees, hence the average cost only being around the $350,000 mark. What I do foresee is as some of the newer condos are closing and people are selling those newer properties over the next 3 to 6 months, we should start to see the average price of these properties go up as well, because there will be a higher percentage of newer condos coming onto the market, which should impact the average price. So there is a very quick recap of what May's numbers look like. And then let's take a look at the project that we have coming up. Violet Condos. Violet, we launched that on Monday, and we have units starting in the mid $300,000 range. Violet is located in Yorkville, which is the southwest quadrant of Calgary. It is just south of, forget the name, Silverado. The community is called Silverado. So you're looking at just south of, or the southern end of Silverado. You're, about just over an hour away from the Rockies, 35 minutes from the airport. And really, there's amenities already in place. I'll flip to the next screen to show you what some of those existing amenities are. Violet will be a community of 4 buildings. There's going to be a total of 490 units. And the initial building, I'll believe, is going to be Building B. I thought I had that image here, but I might be mistaken. It might be on the next slide, but we'll see in a moment. Getting back to some of the amenities that I initially talked about that are, within 10 minutes of Violet. Right now, you have a few malls, the Shaughnessy Mall and the Township Mall, which is, less than 10 minutes away. There's a golf course about 6 minutes away. You have 4 schools, 2 elementary and 2 Catholic schools that are under 10 minutes away. South Central Mall, which is a larger mall, it's less than 15 minutes away, and you're under 30 minutes from downtown and about 30 minutes to the Calgary airport. So really, you aren't far from anywhere. And these minutes, these are actual travel times, whether you're leaving at 9 a.m. in the morning during what we call typical rush hour time, or if you are, leaving at 7:30 in the evening where there's, less traffic. Just the traffic situation in Calgary is different than what other major cities are experiencing. So these are accurate times that we've Google mapped during our, historically and traditionally the higher traffic times, and you're still able to get to places within a decent time period. So there you have it. That's what we have going on at Violet. Oh, here it is, Building B. So 4 buildings. Building B, which is the one that looks like a 7. Units are currently available. There are 3 different floor plans. The most common and the most popular one is the 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom floor plan, which is floor plan A. It's a total of between 645 and 663 square feet internally, and you have a 76 square foot balcony. The balcony is considered livable space because you can have food out there. There's gas hookups for your barbecue. So in Calgary, you can actually do that. You can put sorry, not a gas barbecue, but you can put a propane barbecue on your balcony. So it is allowed in many municipalities across other provinces. We aren't allowed to have barbecues. So definitely make use of the balcony space. This is a great 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom floor plan. It's a split bedroom, meaning the bedrooms are on either side of the unit. You have a large kitchen, a designated gather area, which is your living space, 2 bathrooms, one directly off the ensuite in the owner's retreat, and then you have the second full bathroom that's accessible by the 2nd bedroom and also from the living and dining space. So that is floor plan A. There's typically anywhere from 12 to 14 of these units per floor, and building B has 6 floors. So doing the math, probably looking at about 70 to 75 units in the A category. And then we have building B, or floor plan B, which is a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 640 square feet, about the same internal space as floor plan A. And you have a balcony, which is also about the same size. But I guess the biggest difference with floor plan A and B is that B does not have a 2nd bathroom. It only has 1 bathroom. So it is accessible, the bathroom, directly from the owner's retreat, but then you also can access it from the living and dining space. There are, I think, about 2 to 3 per floor of the B units. They do go fast. They're also the ones that start at the lowest price point in that $350,000 range. And then finally, you have the large 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit, 880 square feet. pretty large balcony, over 200 square feet. It's a wraparound balcony. These units are corner units, being the biggest unit. So you have all different exposures, pretty much northeast, southeast, northwest, southwest, all different options available. And also a phenomenal floor plan. There's a ton of space, very usable space. And even looking at some of the previous floor plans, Truman, they are phenomenal in ensuring that every inch of their units are usable. There aren't long hallways that take up a ton of square footage that you aren't going to use. So definitely something to consider as an investment option. You can buy something like this for $350,000, let it sit until late 2028, 2029. And when you're taking possession, just like I did with the Savanna condo, you're going to see some good appreciation there where there's, one of two things you can do. You can, simply get a mortgage for what you paid for. But if you've seen significant growth and you want to access some of the equity that's built in that property, then of course you want to work with the right lender that will allow you to borrow up to 80% of any appreciated value of that property. Not all lenders do that, only a few, so keep that in mind. And use that extra money as long as you're comfortable and you're approved to borrow that amount. And you can use that towards other down payments and other investments or whatever you like to do with it. So one of the best ways to make sure your dollar goes as far as possible in today's market, because we know in places like Vancouver and Toronto and Montreal, this type of investment formula is not possible. It's just simply too expensive and the costs are significantly more than what you're paying in Calgary. So there you have it, folks. That is the presentation and webinar for today. Short, quick, and sweet. There are other projects for those that want to know, and you can certainly reach out to me or any member of the Wealth Builder team. We have freehold properties in Chestermere, Bridgeport, freehold homes starting at $600,000. We have townhomes in East Calgary. It's called Princeton is the neighborhood. The Arabella townhomes, they're in the mid $500,000 range. And then we also have Clover condos in the Northwest, Lincoln condos in the downtown core. And all of these projects come with rental guarantees and other incentives that will help make it a turnkey investment solution for you. If you'd rather not go with the rental guarantee, we have a property management solution that can help you. And next week, we will be hosting a webinar with one of our property management partners to talk about what that process looks like. So for those that are interested, certainly feel free to keep an eye out for that email so you can sign in. Now let's head over to the Q&A. So we have two questions. The first question is, the incentive package for Violet. So the Violet condos, there's a few options. There's a 10% down payment plan and a 20% down payment plan. Now, the more you put down, of course, the more incentives that you get. So there is a 2-year rental guarantee and a 4-year rental guarantee, depending on which plan you go with. When you go with a rental guarantee, a few other frills are added on. You have free property management with Empire 81, which is a company that Truman owns and operates. And Empire 81 will provide free full property management during the time that you are signed up for that rental guarantee program. And you also don't pay condo fees for either 2 years or 4 years. With the 20% plan, parking and lockers are free. With the 10% plan, there's an additional cost. You can buy surface parking or you can buy underground parking. And assignment rights, $1,500 to sell your unit on assignment, but it is free if you go with the 20% plan. Now, assignments is a whole different conversation, which we can get into on a one-on-one basis. Not a huge fan of assignment sales, especially in Calgary, but just in case that is your only option, the assignment options are available for either $1,500 or for free, depending on which down payment plan you go with. So hopefully that answers your question. And the last question here, it wasn't a question, it was just the comment from before. So fantastic, everyone. I don't believe there are any other questions left, but I do want to thank you all for your time. For those that want to chat more about my journey in the Savanna condo purchase or any of the other investments that I bought, my contact information is here. I'm also happy to talk about our existing projects and discuss the areas that I think are the best places to invest in, given what's happening out there. Feel free to reach out to me, and would be happy to help you make some moves. All right, everyone. Thanks again. Have a wonderful remainder to your week, and appreciate you attending. Take care.